Welcome back to Men and the City. In today's video, we're going to talk about money. Money is a very complicated subject, as most of you, all of you perhaps, are aware. It's also a topic that I cover in my tagline. I say, Men in the City, Finance, Freedom, and Neo-Masculinity. So let's talk a little bit about money today, because I don't think it's a concept that many people, especially folks in the United States, increasingly really understand. I'm bombarded on a routine basis, as I'm sure you are, with lots of influencers or YouTube personalities or likewise telling me 10 steps to become rich just like them, or regurgitating these endless programs for how I can turn my business around and make millions, and so forth and so on. And this industry is a self-licking ice cream cone. I mean, it never ends. It goes on and on and on. And I present a different perspective to you in some sense from a different world, because Europe, as some of you may know, actually interprets money in slightly different ways than we do in the US. They have more work-life balance, you might say. They're not obsessed. They're not consumed by the mania of money the way that Americans are. And part of that is geographic. Places in Europe are much closer. Europeans tend to rent, not own. Of course, in the US, most homeowners don't really own their properties either, but that's a topic for another story. In other words, the Europeans value different things than we do, and it's through that prism that I want to talk to you today. So, in the manosphere, and for those who are red-pilled and talk in those terms, there is quite an obsession with money, as there is in entrepreneurial circles. So in the manosphere, there's often the triad of attraction, you might say. And the triad of attraction is simple. Money, muscles, and game. So money, for many pickup artists and dating coaches and red-pilled folks in general, is, you might say, the foundation to the attraction triad. It's a way to raise your sexual marketplace value. It's a way to generate interest and raise your status in the world. And so you have an entire industry of men that are chasing this 5 or 10 step process to make more money. You have entrepreneurial gurus like Gary Vee, as an example, who tell you to endlessly proselytize and shamelessly sell yourself on any number of e-platforms or through social media in order to make money. Well, let's try and think differently about money as a concept. So there's actually a German sociologist, some of you may be familiar with him. His name is Max Weber. And Max Weber praised American capitalism. He believed that American industriousness and entrepreneurialism and a work ethic were essential to its success. And in many respects, he's right. But even he warned that there were dangers associated with becoming myopically and voraciously focused on money. And his warning was simple. He said, if this ethos breaks containment, if it spirals out of control, that over time Americans would become, or anybody in the system would become, hedonists without heart and specialists without spirit. In other words, they would lose touch with their humanity and simply chase the cheese that's in the maze. And in many respects, I think that is precisely what has happened. And of course, the epicenter of that culture, of that ethos, is the United States, because it is the place to make money. It is the place where millionaires and billionaires are made. But in my judgment, it's a false motivation. It's not the right track to pursue as a man. Making money is not the purpose, is not the product of masculinity. So what is? Well, it might surprise you to know that some of the most unhappy people you're going to meet, not always, but it's more common than you think, are some of the richest. And the reason for that is simple. They have all the luxury goods, they generate a lot of cash flow, many of them own assets around the world, they have fancy properties and all kinds of toys, but they're unhappy. Why are they unhappy? Well, they're unhappy because they're slavishly beholden to this fiat fugazi monopoly money. That's all they do, is they stack monopoly money. And what they're really missing is a calling or a mission, or in some sense a higher purpose that their real self, their inner masculinity, fully aligns with. And that is some clue as to how to achieve higher success as a man. And that is to separate yourself or decouple from a system that mandates or that compels in every way, in every shape or form, you to make money, to make monopoly money, to stack your fiat against somebody else's fiat. And when you do that, the first experience that you have is fear. It's dread. And the reason for that is because you have all these bills to pay. You have a mindset that's so wedded to pursuing all of these material acquisitions that everybody else does. And so you're afraid, and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. You don't know how you're going to live your life. You don't know how you're going to be free, because you've been told that the formula for freedom is wealth, that getting rich is the way out of the matrix. And now I'm telling you that that's not true. So what happens next after that fear sets in? Well, you begin to revalue everything. And that is the key term here, folks. You begin to reevaluate and revisit all of the valuations that are denominated in dollars based on what you really need and what you really want. And that allows you to see real value. It allows you to see hidden value. It allows you to see assets that are scarce, that other people dismiss and deprecate or marginalize as having true value and meaning. Why? Because they have value to you, because they're congruent with the mission or the passion or the, you might say, the goals that you're trying to pursue, which all of a sudden are thrown in sharp relief because you're no longer pursuing money. Instead, you're just pursuing the things that you really believe in, that you really care about. What do you believe in and what do you value are the questions increasingly that are going to replace how do I get rich? And when you begin to ask those questions, which you do as soon as you're decoupled or you're outside this money membrane, once that happens, you begin to realize that there are a lot of subscriptions, there are a lot of customary goods and privileges and even ways of living that lose value. You just think they have value because everybody else thinks they have value. And so you embark on a different path. And what happens when you embark on that different path, insofar as you're motivated to pursue that path based on the things that you want to do or the things that you believe in, all of a sudden you'll begin to see hidden opportunities, hidden values that others can't see. And you'll learn new skills that nobody else is trying to learn because everybody else is busy chasing the cheese, chasing the monopoly money, while you're out there focused exclusively on what you believe in and what you want to do. And at the end of that journey, what you're going to discover is a castle in the sky. It's going to be something that you have envisioned naturally that's separated from the monopoly money fugazi system. And once you do that, then you begin to manifest, you begin to create from nothing real value, and you reorganize your life to maximize that value. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of masculinity is not to make money. The purpose of masculinity is to find your mission, to embark on your journey. And the first step to doing that is to reject the get-rich-quick scams, is to ask yourself what you believe in, what you value, and ultimately what you are prepared to fight and die for. The rest of it is irrelevant. Stay tuned for more, and we'll talk soon.